Hello everyone, this is Jotto, and I'm back, kind of. Basically I've been ill. Wanted to make a video about a week ago, and my voice was gone. So yeah, anyway, so I am back now, still a bit ill, so I'm gonna mute my mic every so often to cough, basically. But we have patch notes for Duelyst, so yeah, I figured I'd cover them. We got 4 new cards, some changes to one overpowered card and one card that I was a bit surprised with. And we've also got some UI updates, which is always appreciated. So this is coming out later today, and then on Monday we also had the Spellweaver release. So next week's going to be very, very busy for me. So yeah, those of you that play Duelist specifically, I'll be covering both because the Spellweaver release is happening on Monday. That's a Steam release, and also I still have an invitational to take part in that game, and there's going to be a lot of new content. So next week I'm going to be covering both games equally. Anyway, with that out of the way, let's get on to the 4 new cards. As I can't really zoom in on this, can I? But anyway, so, well, we'll go with the first two while it's zoomed in. So we've got the theme for this month is whenever you replace. It's a new mechanic from what I can tell. It's a very new mechanic actually. I don't think we've seen anything like this before. And whenever you replace a card, they do something, which is a very, very interesting way of using replace as a mechanic. Let's just move out the way. But anyway, so we've got one for each rarity. I'm going to be looking at constructed application first, then gauntlet application. So, first things first, Wings of Paradise, 3 mana 3/3 with flying, and whenever you replace a card, this minion gains +2 attack this turn. Now, this is almost power creeped out a card we already have in the game, the 4 mana 5/3 dragon with flying, but it is quite strong. I don't think this is constructed worthy in any way because it's just a 3 mana 3/3. Oh, look, it has attack, it's fine. Gauntlet, however, I think is going to like this card. 3 drops are a little bit less powerful in Gauntlet than 2 drops or 4 drops because of the way the curve works with mana globes. However, it is a powerful 3 drop. It hits for 5, it has flying. It's quite a strong card. I don't think it's a premium pick, but it is a fairly strong card. White Widow, 4 mana 3/4, rare. Whenever you replace a card, deal 2 damage to a random enemy minion or general. Now, this can hit the general, which is both an upside and a downside, meaning it can win the game, but it can also miss what you want it to. But you can play us on turn 4, replace immediately, next turn replace, and you've already got value out of it. I don't think this is constructed worthy, I think it's a bit slow. It's not Glacial Elemental, basically, but in Gauntlet, I actually think this is quite powerful. Again, I don't think it's a premium pick. Like Wings of Paradise, I think it's a fairly okay pick, maybe slightly higher than Wings because you can play it like Oculus, just play it in the background and just replace continuously and win the game. But it is a bit low on the stats, so that's a little sketchy. But I do think the card is very, very good in Gauntlet, and I don't think we'll see constructive play. Dream Gazer, 2 mana 2/2. Epic. Whenever you replace this card, summon it on a random nearby space, which I'm guessing means nearby to your general. Your general takes 2 damage. This is interesting. So whenever you replace the Dream Gazer, you get it on the board for free. Is that worth playing the card? That's the interesting thing. Because if you play it in a aggressive deck, you'll run out of cards. And you'll be in top deck mode, and you would have been able to just play a 2 drop anyway, and this is way below average for 2. This is basically a 1 drop. So, Dreamgazer's stats are basically the same as the 1 drop mech. Is it worth saving 1 mana? I'm not sure it is. I don't think it is. You also take 2 damage. I don't really like it. I think the only time this will see play is in the combo draw decks in Vitruvian and Abyssian, and also in songhai because they have so much draw power that they just need to drop their hand size. I think that's the only time that we'll actually see play, but I'm not sold on this. A 2/2 is not very useful because it can be killed by the general, and it's basically just a worse version of a 1-drop. So you're only saving 1 mana at best anyway, so I actually really don't like this card for Constructed, and same goes for Gauntlet. I mean, for Gauntlet it's a bit better because you kinda can drop your hand size, and if you do drop your hand size, you can actually draw more cards. Anyway, so you can actually draw more cards, and often you overdraw in Gauntlet, but for Constructed, I don't like it. Astral Crusader, did I say that right? Yep. 7 mana, 7/6, legendary. Whenever you replace this card, it costs 1 less and gains +1/+1. I like this effect a lot. Why? Because it promotes grindy control play, which is what we need more of. Now, this is an interesting card because if you replace it once, it becomes a 6 mana 8/7, which is below average. If you replace it twice, it becomes a 5 mana 9/8, which is way above average. And anything more than that, and I think you just win. Now, I do think this will see some play. I think the deck I want to try it in is Control Magmar and also Lionar instead of Spellbinder. The reason for it is because Spellbinder does have a bit of a problem with it, where it's basically the effect doesn't actually do much in a lot of situations. Whereas by the time you play Astral Crusader, they probably have used the hard removal already, and you can get it down to like 3 mana or something. I mean, if you play a 3 mana 11/10, I think you've just won because the tempo loss is insane for your opponent. So that's quite powerful. I don't know how much play it'll see because it doesn't have an effect. Basically, it just has stats, and if you silence it, it becomes a 7/6, I think. I'm not sure about that. I don't know if it's a buff or a permanent change. We'd have to actually test the card to see that. But for Constructed, I think it'll see some play. I don't think it'll see a lot, but I think it'll see some play. And for Gauntlet, I think it'll be incredibly good. Legendaries in general, they're basically made legendary because they have swingy effects that you can't really put in Gauntlet easily. And this is one of them. You don't want your opponent to play a long game and replace this thing 3 or 4 times, and then you just die to it. So I think it does make sense as legendary, and I think that it's a very, very good like poster boy for the mechanic for overplace. I quite like the cards design-wise. I don't think they quite deliver on power level for Constructed, but design-wise, I think they are very, very good. So anyway, moving on to card changes, both to songhai, and that's it. So songhai was the best faction. However, I don't think it was by as much compared to Lionar as a lot of people were saying. I think Lionar, Vitruvian, and Vanar were all fairly close, but songhai was the best, so I think everyone was expecting it to be nerfed. However, I'm a bit astonished that Third Wish didn't get touched at all, and also Lionar didn't get touched at all, because I feel like Lionar is going to have some serious issues losing a game right now. But anyway, Lantern Fox got changed from its old Celerity double 3/3s to 3 mana 2/4. Still an epic. Whenever this minion takes damage, put a Phoenix Fire into your action bar. So chances are you'll be getting 2 Phoenix Fires, which is good value from 3-drop. However, you're also going to cap out your hand size, which means that your opponent can just attack the Lantern Fox when you have 6 cards in hand. And then, hey presto, you get 0 Phoenix Fires. So it's not as broken as it looks, I'll put it that way. But anyway, so the effect is way less powerful than the old Fox. I think it will still see play, but I think it will see play in some sort of mid-rangey deck. I mean, it's an okay aggro card because you play it for 3 mana and then it will always deal 5, pretty much. Is that worth playing? Maybe. I mean, sometimes it'll deal 8 as long as you can keep dropping your hand size. It's a good draw. Maybe it'll see play. I think it's a better Mogwai, personally, because Mogwai draws you a random card, and also you have to move it. Whereas Fox will pretty much always get a card. I mean, it does say whenever it takes damage, so the only way of stopping Lancer Fox from giving you a Phoenix Fire is by like a Martyrdom or something crazy like that. So I think the card is quite strong. It's nowhere near the old Fox, and I think it will see some play. Anyway, on to the second card change. Now, this one was surprising. Miss Dragon Seal got a mana increase. This is weird to me. I think a lot of people were expecting Inner Focus to be changed. Because Inner Focus is what allows you to do all the crazy stuff in songhai. I think a lot of people were expecting Inner Focus to cost 1 mana. But instead, the Teleport costs 2. This is really strange. Like, I think it might just be better to run Juxtaposition instead of Miss Dragon Seal now. I'm not really sure if it warranted the change. I think that there needed to be another change to Side Fox, but I think I would have gone for Inner Focus instead. The change to Miss Dragon Seal is a bit odd. So anyway, on to the non-balance related section. And yeah, as I said, Lionar and Vitruvian didn't get any changes, and yeah. So we're going to get a 3-horse meta, basically. Player profile revamp. This is a big deal because one of the main complaints I had with the game initially was that the player profile was really bad. So yeah, we've got a good one now, from what I can tell from just the pictures. So it shows your current rank, it shows your top rank, and it also shows the levels of your factions, which is a fairly big deal. Now, it's a much bigger deal for people that are starting out the game because it means you can tell which factions you need to level and also which factions are level 10 and not level 11 so you can get your free pack. That's important. But it's just a nice thing to know in general because it means that if you're trying to get all the emotes for everything, you don't need to go into every single game. Yeah, so I am happy this has been changed. It's very, very nice. There's also something else in the background there, which I'm guessing is just showing how many wins, so how much you played and what your rank was for each season. So that would be like over here. I think that's what that shows. But I do like the fact that they're updating the uh, the profile. It's very, very important, so that's a good thing. All right. Now you can also glance at the profile of players on your buddy list. That's also really good because it means you get to tell like, oh, who is this guy? So that's nice. You get to see how much they played, etc. Game replays. Oh, I missed this. So this is experimental apparently. Okay, that's really cool. You can see game replays, although apparently it's going to be buggy because it's not quite finished. That's very cool. It means you can actually look at replays of your own stuff, and depending on how unstable this is, because they did say it's a bit unstable, depending on how unstable this is, I will maybe do some casting of people's matches. I need to actually look at how the system works, but I may do some casting of people's matches if this is working correctly. We'll see. I mean, that's what I did with Hearthstone spectator mode, but that was broken. So, depending on how stable this one is, I may do some casting of people's matches on my friends list. We shall see. But anyway, so report replay bugs. Yeah, this is important. It's not stable, so make sure you report bugs on it, so they can actually stabilize it for the release of the game. Now, okay, a few caveats. Replays will for now only work for the current patch. Alright, so anything prior to the current patch doesn't work. You can only replay your own or your friend's past matches. Yeah, that makes sense. Perspective of the player you've selected, you won't be able to see the opponent's action bar. Alright. Mouse data will not be perfectly sequenced in all cases. Please report cases, games you know see issue. So basically, you only be able to see one side, and it's a bit unstable, which, yeah. New rank UI. This is quite nice because the old rank UI was a little sketchy in some cases. I mean, it really looks weird at S rank especially, where S rank, once you got to S rank, the stars weren't there, so it was just this ring floating doing nothing. So yeah, I hope they've updated that. It doesn't really show much in the screenshot, but we'll see when we get into the actual game when this goes live. General casting animations, these are really, really cool because it means that you get to see an animation when your opponent's casting something as opposed to just something weird going on. So when it's a spell, they have this cool animation. Now, this is for Lionar specifically. I do want to see the casting animations for the other factions, but the one for Lionar does look very, very good. So that's just a good sign in general. Now, quality of life improvements. Do not disturb, that's important, especially for me because I do recording in game and I don't want to get notifications. So, yeah, that's nice. They also added this partly because, yeah, you could start reading friend invite. Now, a lot of big streamers have been streaming Duelyst recently, and the amount of friend request spam is hilarious. There was actually a guy on Reddit who had his name as Reynad, and he posted a screenshot of just his entire screen filled with friend invites, which is just insane. So yeah, that's a good thing that's there now. And you can also log in via username now. Okay, so yeah, as I said, quality of life improvements. Alright, so they've changed the spell indicator from yellow to red, since that's what they're using for enemies. Redesigned settings, UI, added a separator between concede and settings. Always appreciated. On hover sounds, in game a little bit more subtle, and increase the time it takes the duelist to ask you to log in again. Alright, so this is just quality of life stuff. Basically, this means that you can stay logged in for longer, so it doesn't just randomly log you out. So that's nice. So this just, as I said, random quality of life improvements. Bug fixes I won't go over because I think a lot of people don't tend to pay attention to them anyway. Roadmap went over last patch, although we do have some concept art. So yeah, this is actually really, really cool. So this is for the next expansion, I think, or the next set of cards. We've got the Songhai Ace and the Magmar Rex. These are really, really cool designs. I like the whole turtle, like mechanical turtle thing, and also basically steroids on a T-Rex. I really like the art style in this game. I think it's maybe a bit too mech focused, but I do like the art style. Now, while I have this on video, I'm just going to go over the previous patch very, very briefly. I didn't make a video for this because it was a bit unnecessary, needless to say. But anyway, so they added in practice mode UI polish, which I think everyone knows about right now. But the main thing I wanted to go over from this was actually the artwork. So basically, we had previews for artwork and models for the next expansion. So we had three previews. These all look like they're legendaries, although some of the names, like two of them are obviously names. The third one, Lionar Solaris, is a title. It could be a major title. It could just be like a member of the guard or something. But anyway, so the point is we got three cards that are probably legendary. We got their sprites. We even got the animation for the Vitruvian one, which as always looks very, very good. And then we got this. Now, this set of sprites is what the Mark II heroes look like. Now, these are cosmetic upgrades that you can buy to make your favorite heroes look awesome. Now, we do actually have the animation for the Vitruvian attack, which is very, very, very cool. I think some of them, I'm not a fan of some of them. However, the ones I do like are Vitruvian, I really like Magmar, and Vanar. Those are the three I really like. I think the songhai one looks a little odd, as it every time I mouse over something, it does the bar at the bottom. But anyway, the songhai one looks a little strange, and the Lionar one also looks real strange. The sword is a bit squashed. I mean, I know that it's pointing in a direction, but the point is it looks a bit strange in a 2D sprite form. So I would have appreciated if they left the sword in the same holding position as the normal hero. But yeah, and the Abyssy one I'm kind of in the middle on as far as Abyssine goes. But anyway, I really like the Magmar one. If I was a Magmar player, I'd be jumping for joy right now. And also the Vitruvian one looks amazing, as we can see from the attack animation. So anyway, that's a quick overview of all the patch notes we've got for January. Thank you all for watching. If you like the content, please subscribe. If you have any feedback or want to ask me any questions, put it in the comment section below. Bye for now, it's been Jotto, signing off.